What are the three graphing concepts? So let's review. What does a graph show? Remember before when we would have a rule, a table, and a graph, all representing the same relationship. Note here that we will use scales for our graphs. So we're going to use hours that go up by 3 and the amount of money or dollars which goes up by 10. We can plot the points from our table on our graph. So we'll plot 0, 0. We can plot 2, 8, 5, 20, and 12, 48. We can fill in these spaces between our points with additional points. So we have many points that kind of go together, and they form a line. So we have a linear equation. So remember that the graph shows a picture of the pairs of numbers. So here is our picture of the pairs of numbers that are also represented by the rule and the table given. So here we have some notes. So we have a question, what is a line made of? We graphed the line and it had points. So a line is made of points. What does a point represent? Well, remember we had points that were 0, 0, and 2, 8, 5, 20, and 12, 48. So a point represents a pair of numbers. What does a line show? So remember we had the rule y equals 4x. So we have 624, 728, 936, 1248. All of these points, and the ones that we haven't marked, are shown on our line. So a line shows every pair of numbers in a relationship. Let's take a look at a few examples. So here we're going to try to choose the graph that represents the situation that we are given. So Farmer Quirt bought 5 Corazes every week. He started with 92 of them. Which graph shows the relationship? Both of these graphs start at 92, so they show a starting amount of 92. However, in our first graph, notice how we're going up. So as the weeks continue, we are getting more Corazes added to what we have. However, on the second graph, we're going down, so we're losing Corazes. Because Farmer Quirt is buying Corazes, this second one isn't going to work for us. So let's take a look now at this pair of graphs. So Farmer Quirt bought 5 Corazes every week. He started with 92 of them. Which graph shows the relationship? Well, they both start at 92. They both actually seem kind of similar. The reason they look different is because of their scales. Notice how this one has a much smaller scale than this graph over here. So let's come up with a table of numbers and see which one actually works. So we know that when we have 0 weeks have passed, we have 92 Corazes because that's our starting amount. We're good on this first graph, and we're good on the second graph. After 1 week, we have 97 Corazes because we've added 5 more. Good on the first graph, good on the second graph. Let's take a look at what happens after 5 weeks. So after 5 weeks, We have 92 plus 5 times 5, which is 25. So 117 Khorazes. So if we plot these values, we'll see that our first one is just a bit too low. We're coming in there more like 112, not 117. So the graph that we need to have must be the second one. A similar situation here. Farmer Pip started with 196 alibers on his farm. Every day, he erased 4 more of them. Which graph shows the relationship? Notice first that Farmer Pip is erasing alibers each day. So we know that we should be going down because as the days go on, we should have fewer and fewer alibers. So both of these graphs have lines that are going downward. So we need to fill in our table. And let's look at 5. 5 isn't going to work for us here. And 5 is not going to work because we have our starting amount in the x value on our first graph is 20. So we want bigger than 5. So let's try 50. So when we substitute in 50, we get 196 minus 50 times 4, because each day we're erasing 4 of them. So we have 200. So 196 minus 200 is negative 4. So we're looking for somewhere where we're at 50 to be at negative 4. Well, notice here at 50, we're at like 45, maybe 50 there. So that's not going to work for us. So this has to be our second graph.